They are the fantastic singer-impersonator Michael Holmes, star of The Judy Show and the Michael Holmes Trio, and the gorgeous and fabulous singer Francesca Amari, who has performed along with Michael at the Cabaret series. We're missing Joel Baker, who's the well-known pianist extraordinaire, and all of them have been showcasing their talents at Blame It on Midnight and have come together to raise the musical bar even higher. On Monday, April 26th, the closing dinner show Cabaret event will be Tin Pans and Rags. So everybody has been working on it, but Joel couldn't be here today. So hello, everybody. It's great to have you here.
Hello.
Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Francesca.
Well, Francesca is in Michigan.
Yes,
and Michael is here in the studio, and we don't really know where Joel is, but we're sending our hellos to Joel.
Somewhere in the desert.
Somewhere in the desert.
Yeah.
Wandering aimlessly.
Well, Michael, we're going to start with you. What is Tin Pans and Rags?
Well, Tin Pans and Rags is a show that we developed. It's actually a tribute to Tin Pan Alley and ragtime music, and it's a tribute, but it also comments and explores how much this era of music has influenced contemporary music, jazz, blues, and even Broadway.
It sounds like an exciting show just in that little description.
Well, it's actually a lot of fun. I mean, even though Tin Pan Alley and ragtime music are considered older, from the turn of the century, they're all songs that everybody knows today.
That's it, exactly.
They've sustained, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what inspired you to do the show, and was it who came up with the idea of doing it, or was it a dual?
Well,
I think Michael's going to blame me.
Francesca did it.
Francesca did it. Well, then let's talk to you, Francesca.
I did it. Really, I think the genesis of it came. We were both Michael and I, independently of each other, were working with a really great piano player in Michigan, and we also wanted to be able to perform together because I think we have a really great chemistry on stage. And so trying to put all three of our talents together, I kind of came up with this idea to feature Mark at the time on the piano with the ragtime piece of it, and Michael and I featuring some of the songs from Tin Pan Alley, where I don't think a lot of people always connect that some of the greatest love standards of our pop music history came from Tin Pan Alley, and so it was an attempt to put all those things together. And now we found Joel, and Joel is just perfect.
And Joel is certainly very well known here in the Valley.
Yeah.
I mean, he's all over the place with his music, and he accompanied Vicki Knight the other night.
The other night, the Nightingale sang.
The other night, and you were at that performance.
Sorry,
I'm sure that was great.
I was. I host the Cabaret series that we put on at Blame. March is Cabaret Month nationally, and we hosted a Cabaret series for the month of March every Monday, and it was such a success we continued it through April. So this show is actually the conclusion to an extended series at Blame It on Midnight celebrating the art of cabaret.
Yeah, that's great.
But you are calling it the West Coast premiere, so I'm assuming that means that you'll probably do it someplace else.
Well, we did it in Michigan initially with Mark Caney, the
so you
pianist.
did do it in Michigan already.
We did it. Well, it's a little bit of a different show.
Yeah, we tweaked it to highlight Joel's talents.
Okay.
He's a tap dancer. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, he plays the piano and then dances on top of it. That I haven't seen yet. Okay, well, Michael, let me ask you this. What can we expect from the evening?
Well, you get a little bit of history. You get a little bit of what I enjoy about the cabaret is that you get information or new perspective on music that you think you already have an idea of what it is. But also, it's just a whole lot of fun. It's great music. An example is we open with Alexander's Ragtime Band.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it was written by Irving Berlin when he was 17 years old.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was a million copy seller of sheet music. And interestingly enough, even though it's called Alexander's Ragtime Band, it's not a rag.
It's not.
It's not.
What is it?
What is it, Francesca?
What is it, Francesca?
Well, he wrote it. I mean, it's pop. It's popular music, but he wanted to write a piece that emulated the style of ragtime, so that's what he came up with.
Okay, so now I want to know, I'm going to be in the audience that night, as a lot of my gal friends are. Can we all, everybody in the audience, get up and march around and dance and do all of that stuff?
Well, you usually do.
I think if you're so motivated, more power to you.
Well, you always see that, even in New Orleans. You hear it and see it. And, yeah.
I guess we better bring some tambourines in. And
I think you should. Michael always has his tambourines when he sings. So
and you bring your maracas.
They go with me everywhere.
Yeah, they're in my purse right now as we speak, as a matter of fact.
Well, that's the fun thing about cabaret is that it's a very particular style of theater. And some people don't understand exactly what it is. And Francesca is probably she's the perfect example. She is the premier artist of cabaret in Michigan, and she's acknowledged by everybody, even the state of Michigan, as one of the very best. And what it is, it's a way of theater where you break down the fourth wall, and it really is an interaction with the audience.
What is the fourth wall?
Well, go ahead, Francesca, if you want to. I mean, I can explain it, but I don't want to.
What is the fourth wall?
Well, when you see plays and musicals, most often, although more modern plays and musicals do break the fourth wall, but typically the fourth wall is the wall that you see the audience through from the stage, but you act like there's no audience there.
Ah, okay.
And so with cabaret, the nice thing is that you actually do talk to your audience, and you interact with them, and you let them know you and know who you are and why you're singing the songs you're singing. The best description I've ever heard or read about a successful cabaret show is that the audience will leave thinking that they've just been on a really wonderful first date with you.
Oh,
because
that's a great
description. You let them in.
Yeah, that's great. That's terrific. Well, Francesca, let me ask you, do you have a favorite piece that you're going to be performing? I'm sure you have more than one, but is there a specific one that you really love or have a lot of fun with that you're going to be doing? Give us a little hint.
I actually have two, and one because I'm a sap for ballads, but I am singing George Gershwin's "Someone to Watch Over Me."
Oh, I heard that on the radio the other day. I love that.
It is.
I'm so glad you're doing that.
It's the most beautiful song.
Oh, yes.
And,
terrific.
So I love singing that, and you just forget what it. You don't forget, but he wrote some of the most beautiful music. And then Michael and I do a duet version of "Sam, You Made the Pants Too Long," and it's just fun. We just have fun.
It is fun, and it's and actually Francesca is so much fun on stage. She's a riot to work with.
I bet.
A lot of the show it'll be improv.
Good.
Interaction,
that's always fun.
And that's a lot of fun. But it's also, I mean, there are so many great songs. Francesca also sings "Secondhand Rose," "You Made Me Love You." We do "After You've Gone." I do "Stardust," another great ballad. "St. Louis Blues."
I do all the innocent. Judy
the innocent ones.
Garland.
Right.
And Michael does the old bitter Judy Garland.
Yes, and that's what we call acting.
And you're very good at that, Michael.
Yes.
Well, what else are you going to be singing, Michael?
Well,
you specifically.
Me specifically. You. Well, one of my favorite songs that I sing is an old Depression era song, and I just forgot the title.
"Brother, Can You Spare a Dime?"
Oh, "Brother, Can You Spare a Dime?"
My favorite of his.
That is depressing.
It's a heartbreaker. It really is. But then we also do fun things like Swanee. I love a piano.
You'd be good at that. That's going to be good.
I've done it before, so
I haven't heard that. I'm looking forward to
But then we have Joel Baker playing Harlem Nocturne and
Rhapsody in Blue.
Rhapsody in Blue, Mississippi Rag, The Entertainer.
Very
Scott
nice.
Joplin, the king of ragtime.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice combination.
Oh, and I love Scott Joplin. That's
Yeah,
gonna be,
it's
you can't do a ragtime show without
Absolutely
a
not.
Scott Joplin. Too.
Well, do you have a particular favorite, Michael, that you're going to be singing?
Well, for this show, I think it's probably in the ballad style. My favorite would be "Brother, Can You Spare a Dime?" because it is so dramatic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I get to wear a hat, and I always like to wear a hat. So.
Well,
I do have to say that used to be a song I dismissed. I never really paid much attention to it until we put it in the show and Michael sang it, and he just does such a wonder. Like, I never, and this is what's great about cabaret, I had never really listened to the lyric and made sense of the song until I heard him sing that. And that's what the beauty is of a cabaret show that's so intimate, that you can actually figure out, oh, I get what that song's about.
Well, that's it exactly, and I have to say, Michael is wonderful in singing songs like that, and I have mentioned to him a couple of times that he really needs to make an album of ballads. So maybe he'll do that someday.
That'd be
because
great.
he's absolutely incredible when he sings ballads.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but it's true.
Will you be my agent?
Okay, folks, you heard it out there. It was just offered a job.
Ask for 25%.
Now, the thing that I also enjoy about your show, Michael, I'm talking now about the trio, you and Joel are so great at banter. And you go back and forth, and I wish Joel were here to talk about it, but we'll speak for him. But we're going to hear more of that at the Cabaret night. I hope so.
We absolutely are. And actually, Francesca is the queen of banter.
Oh, my goodness, Francesca, you're the queen of Cabaret, and now you're the queen of banter.
That means I
is
talk
great.
too much. That's just a really nice way of saying she talks too much.
No, I love it. So we are going to hear more of that.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Now, what did Joel add to the mix here of getting the show together?
Well, I
Be
think.
kind.
Oh no! Well, he had money. No, he is actually probably one of the most talented accompanists I've ever worked with, and I've worked with quite a few.
He is wonderful.
He follows the singer and understands the nuances of a song and helps you bring them out. And he's also, in his own right, as a performer, a really terrific pianist. So I don't know. What do you have to add
And
to
a
that?
singer. I guess the nice thing is that we're doing three-part
yes.
harmony on things because he sings.
Yes, he
And
does,
that-
and I've heard him, and he is wonderful.
Yeah, and so that totally adds to the mix. And then he's throwing in a couple of numbers that he wanted to do that are really fun.
Good.
So it's a good mix of all our talents, I think.
Oh, it's going to be great.
And the show starts at 8, and we encourage people to have their reservations for dinner by 7.
Yes,
so
it is a dinner show, so...
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a $10 cover plus regular menu price. So
And again, we talked about the fact previously that it's a very reasonably priced menu, and people can order whatever it is that they want. But the serving has to be finished in plenty of time for the show because we don't want to hear people chomping and.
Well, they won't
Dropping
take it
their
away
fork.
from you,
Yeah, but-
it's just for the show is not an enormously long show, so it's.
How long is it about?
I think it's an hour and 10 to 15 minutes.
And you'll do additional songs if people request them, I'm sure.
Well, if you're dancing, we'll be singing.
I'll be dancing. Francesca, I want to ask you. You have performed many times with Michael, and just very briefly, and I'm sorry you have to be brief, but what do you like best about Michael's creativity as well as his wonderful voice?
What I like the most, and I do perform with a lot of other people as well, but what's really wonderful about Michael is that no matter where your mind goes or with a song or whatever you're doing vocally or just talking, he goes with you and he plays with you and he connects with what you're doing. And so you really work as a team on stage.
Well, that's great to hear. And we are running out of time, and I want to quickly say that you can still hear Michael and Joel for 2 more Judy shows, is it?
2 more Judy shows.
And then they're heading off the end of the season on May 2nd. They're heading to Maine for their summer gig. And we all don't know what we're going to do without them. But thank you both for being here.
Well, thank
you're
you for having us.
You're
We
very
appreciate it.
welcome.